Okay, folks. So there is definitely a little bit of military activity going on out here. Thunderbirds were out and about a little bit ago too, here to the north. And I was recording some of the planes coming in here. You can see here's the flight path. The flight tracker is showing we're down in here by Heritage Park. So, up in here is where McDonald Ranch is and all that. We're not up in here on the hills. We're down here in Heritage Park. And we have family and relatives and stuff that live up in here, but we don't. I'm down in here by Heritage Park. And I was kind of documenting some of the air traffic that was coming in. There were some Janets that were coming in and around this way too, but definitely some military. And there was this Tahoe 92 here that showed up. And if we look at this map on flight tracker radar, a lot of the air traffic that I was seeing, the military traffic, was coming from this southern area here, like the regular commercial traffic was. But even this regular commercial traffic, if we look at the way this commercial traffic is flowing, and a lot of it is pulling up from out here on the West Coast, even the commercial air traffic would have a direct influence on our weather patterns and would help to direct this atmospheric river that they've got us doused with right now. We're down in here in southern Nevada, and it's definitely coming down out there. It's pretty steady, but they've definitely been influencing this. This has definitely been influenced and directed by NOAA and the Climateers. And no, that's not a new uh, band. That would be an interesting band name, though, wouldn't it? NOAA and the Climateers. Yeah. I tell you what, folks, they are definitely influencing our weather patterns these days on a consistent basis. And any of these climate scientists and climateers that are telling you that this is a naturally occurring event, oh, this is something that happens every so thousand years, and blah 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 blah, is bullshitting you. That is a bullshit lie. This is not natural. It's being influenced and directed. Okay. And it's the military that's doing a lot of it. And I've been kind of watching a little bit going on off to the West Coast here for the last couple of weeks. And there's been a lot of activity going on out here. And you're not going to tell me that even the local air traffic, the way that this air traffic flows and the jet stream and all of that is not being directly influenced by the FAA and them directing these commercial aircrafts to fly in certain paths at certain points. I mean, they have to avoid a lot of, the bad weather anyway, but I've seen a lot of military flying around. Oh, there's a Janet 10. Oh, little Beach King Air out there flying, getting ready to fly right into this freaking storm that's been directed into the valley here. And I was out there recording some of these, flights coming in because right here is their flight path, and I've got the camera set up down in here by Heritage Park, aimed out this way. Just been kind of zooming in on a few here and there, and a couple of Janets, and recording the rain falling on the tin roof out there too. But I just, you're not going to tell me that even the commercial air traffic and the way it's being directed and the way that it's being controlled does not directly influence our weather patterns, because they've been out here for the last couple of weeks playing around with this atmospheric river and pulling it down and redirecting it right up into the valley. And I'm telling y'all, I'll say it again. I've said it before, and I'm going to keep on telling people. Anyone that is building houses along the base of Black Mountain here and Paradise Hills, there's a lot of housing going up right now. I mean, there's a lot of housing going up, and it's just stretching right up the side of these hills. And I guarantee you that within the next 10 years, you're going to be having landslides, and your houses are going to be sliding right down that hill, much like they've been doing out here in California for decades, because they've been doing this weather modification and seeding these systems in the atmospheric river for decades. Okay. And I'm not debating that one with anyone. Anybody that still thinks it's a conspiracy theory is really quite ignorant. Okay. They've been doing it for over 8 decades. I mean, and we have plenty of proof of their own writings, of their own admission that they've been doing it. And I mean, we can even go back to Project Cirrus, the history of Project Cirrus, in case anybody's not familiar with it. GE's research laboratory, the history of Project Cirrus, was published back in 1952. Okay. And it's back in 1947. Let's just take a peek here real quick. Let me go back a few pages though. Go back to chapter 4, where the laboratory studies. Yeah. On the laboratory studies, even, you know, you look at how the raindrop studies that were done. What year was that? 1947. Okay. Let me zoom in a little bit to show you what it actually says over here. In 1947, when reports were received of successful results obtained by dry ice seeding cumulus clouds over Hawaii having a temperature above the freezing point. Sound familiar? Langmuir restudied theoretical calculations he had prepared in 1944 in studies relating to work at Mount Washington Observatory. As a result, he developed a theory which agreed very well with the reactions reported in 1944 and in 1947. What else happened in 1947 that everybody talks about? Everybody talks about and associates it with the Roswell crash, right? When they came out and they said it was most likely a weather balloon, people didn't want to believe that, right? So, I mean, you want somebody to blame for not getting all your disclosure that you want? Blame yourself, because you believe in something that they've already given us proof. I'm pretty sure it was a fucking weather balloon. Pardon my French again, folks. Excuse me. Anyway, according to Langmuir's theory, actively growing cumulus clouds having an average drop size of 20 microns, a liquid water content exceeding 2.5 grams per cubic meter, and a vertical thickness of more than a mile are in favorable state for starting a chain reaction. This could be achieved by introducing water drops greater than 50 microns in diameter into the actively growing part of the cloud, seeding it. Okay, they've been doing it for over 8 decades. And the scientists still say, oh, though this whole climate scientist, this is still all theory and all that. Why? After 8 years of investment and studies being done, is it still theory? If you have not come to some level of a conclusion, which I believe that they have, because they know damn well they can influence and control weather patterns quite well, influencing nature, causing nature to react in certain ways, and they will always, 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 always have that variable. They will never have it fully under control. When I say that they are influencing it and directing it, that's exactly what they're doing. Are they necessarily controlling it? No, they're having to counteract nature's reactions to this shit. And we here at ground level get to just deal with it and breathe it in. Once this stuff dries, all them chemicals and everything, all the seeding process, everything still stays here at ground level. And we're being exposed to it consistently. And to still say that it's a conspiracy still allows them to get away with it without having to take some level of accountability for those of us in society and here at ground level that have sensitivities to these things. And when are they really going to allow doctors to take it into consideration as a health hazard and as a health risk? I mean, it's ridiculous how much they're able to continue to get away with, folks. Come on. This is most definitely being influenced and directed, and it is most definitely not natural. Just ridiculous to me how people still want to have that debate that it's some kind of a conspiracy that they can't do it. They most definitely can do it. They just won't never have full control. They're doing it, but they won't have full control. And we always pay the price here at ground level, don't we? So they can continue on with their little projects. This part here about electrical phenomena is kind of curious too. I don't know if y'all are, familiar with this with Project Cirrus, but the information is out there, and this is not the only publication that they've put out talking about their, work with weather modification and everything. And you're not going to tell me that 8 decades later, they haven't introduced even newer so-called scientific, approaches. It just whatever. I'm not against science. I'm all for science, but not at the expense of human beings. I have a big problem with that. And so does the rest of the world. This to me is a crime. There's a crime being committed right now, and millions of people are being affected by it against our will and against our consent. We are being subjected to a massive science experiment. I don't consent. So, flying right over us right now is a special air mission 168 U.S. Air Force. So, coming from Los Angeles, it's up at 41,000 feet. And if we look at its flight path, how it's coming up right here into Vegas, it's pretty much coming in with this storm. It's like we're almost right in the middle of this atmospheric river flow coming up like this, almost right in the middle of it. Same flight path as that atmospheric river. I find that really curious because I mean, this is a special air mission craft. Okay. It's up at 41,000 feet, mind you. Okay. We look up a little bit of information on the flight tracker history and everything. It comes up with some, you know, crap in other languages and stuff too. And it would appear to be a NATO bird, more or less. So right now we have a NATO bird up there at 41,000 feet, special air missions, flying right through, I mean, right down through the center of this atmospheric river. Now, is it a special air mission that's just there doing scientific research? You know, like one of them NOAA crafts or something to do with NOAA, or I don't like NATO birds flying over, whether it's at 4,000 or 41,000 feet. I don't consent, but this would appear to be a NATO bird. Just letting y'all know. And then I just they're influencing this atmospheric river beyond a shadow of a doubt. And you can even see all of the harping going on, all of the waving, all of the harp waves, which are visible when I zoom the camera in out there. I can see these waves through all this thick, dense cloud structure and everything. I can still see these HARP waves going on, and they are beaming the shit out of us to the north.